Hello, Internet. My name is Mouthful of Madness, and tonight we will be venturing to a place known as Black Star Canyon in Southern California. A place ripe with urban legend and many, many true horror stories. We will be exploring three this evening. Not too long, not too special, but undeniably true, as they happen to myself and friends of mine. So, join me for a drink as you turn out the lights and let your mind wander to a place far from home. Before we begin, allow me to give you a bit of backstory about this place. This area of Southern California is that Mediterranean chaparral style biome. Very beautiful, very dry, like me, and very, very mysterious. Like many places with a history such as it, there are some undoubtedly fake stories, and some undoubtedly exaggerated ones. But what is true is this area is city owned, and there's a family, particularly one very angry farmer, who thinks he has the rights to it. Additionally, there is history with disappearances, odd sightings, odd feelings, alleged satanic ritual, alleged bears, and, unfortunately, a lot of bees. When you visit this area during the day, as myself and many others have, it is quite beautiful, but at night it is very different. Lastly, like any great real-life horror story, there are some Native American myths that circulate within the area, which may have something to do with some of the sightings and feelings one has, and if there is any truth to those satanic rituals, well, they picked a good spot. None of these stories are particularly interesting, spare the last one. So, let us begin. Cheers. This first story happened to two friends of mine. Well, one friend and a former friend who has long been lost to this world. The two of them, after the events to come in the subsequent two stories, decided to go back to practice some long exposure photography. Actually, no. First, there are two entrances to this canyon, as canyons tend to have two sides. The first one, there's, ranger station, parking lot, place to take tickets, and I've only gone in that way once. I generally, as many can attest, prefer the back entrance. There is a slight kind of dirt parking lot after a dirt road. That's the fun way to enter, and that's the way that has all the not so fun stories. Those who enter through the first entrance during the day, totally fine. Entering at the back entrance at night, however, is interesting. This first story, which, as I stated previously, is actually the last, was two friends of mine practicing some long exposure photography. And after having taken several photos at several locations, decided why not go to this one particular turnout, as it's no different than the others, yet different enough with its own unique beauty. They were standing at this cliff, setting up their camera, taking their photos, and they turned around. And there were several people there that they did not hear come up, that did not look particularly menacing, but they did not look friendly. And they were very intrigued as to why these two individuals were there to take photos. They told me later that they had a lot of tension in this interaction, but ultimately they left. The individuals just kind of stood there as they left, and presumably went about whatever business they may have had. Nothing interesting at all until you hear the following stories. Rewinding many, many moons, although not my first time experiencing Black Star Canyon, which, by the way, the first time I did, there was definitely something in the air as I ventured through there that afternoon. Everything was fine because I went during the day. When we went back a while later, we entered, well, it was some friends of mine and I, hippie folk, pseudo witches, that kind of bullshit, crystal fucking humpers. We went back and we explored. It was beautiful. We did have, everyone seemed to report afterwards that they felt some form of suppression in their throats, and weight, which makes sense considering how little we talked. Although no one thought much of it at the initial time until it was naturally brought up later, which you'll see why. Because, well, we were all basking in the majesty of this beautiful Southern Californian sunset in this area that was, allegedly creepy, but it just seemed so alluring to our alternative outlooks on life. As we left at sundown, two adults were walking in towards the gate. Well, walking in from the gate, excuse me. No flashlights, nothing. Just going for a little night hike in a place with cliffs, loose rocks, rattlesnakes, coyotes, mountain lions. The perfect place to take the two very young 5 to 7-year-old children that they were strongly gripping the hands of as they ushered them forward. And once again, we all thought this was a bit strange, but didn't say anything until, having passed them, we decided to, very quickly afterwards, we wondered if we should have attempted to talk to them, because these children did not look like they were enjoying what was going on, but as many people experience, It's very easy when you see something sketchy as an individual to want to do something, but when you're with a group of people, we subconsciously wait to see if someone else picks up on the same wavelength. Same wavelength. Oh, maybe I've had a few too many of these by now. And as such, we did not say anything, but we all thought that was pretty. Oh, God. Fuck. We all thought that was pretty fucking weird. As we leave, driving through this dirt mountain road for a little bit of time before we get back to pavement, we see a car. It is now night, pretending to be broken down at a stretch of road in an area that you would not break down at. There is no potholes anywhere around, although it is possible they could have run out of gas. Like, who the fuck does that? Who allows themselves to run out of gas only a few miles from civilization, driving away from civilization? Who allows themselves to overheat on a relatively tame, dirty, dirt-ish mountain road? Nothing particularly interesting, but it was just like that, you know? It was a completely normal road as far as dirt roads are concerned, with high sage scrub and creosote on the side, maybe a little bit of a coastal oak or black oak. I don't know. It was night. I wasn't looking at the leaves. And they were all standing outside the car, pretending to be looking to see what was wrong, as if they didn't know someone was approaching. You know, of course, as we drive by, that's when one of the women outside shines her flashlight up to the engine and feigns a look of concern, while everyone else is just kind of standing there, and additionally joins her in that feigned look of concern. Nothing particularly out there per se. It did feel pretty weird, but once again, when you consider the history of this area, we're left with two options. Either events like this contribute to the mythos, which I fully admit, maybe me telling people about this event in the past and here this evening add to that. Maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit more to them pretending to be broken down in an area ripe with urban legend. Now, for those of you that have been willing to sit here and listen to me ramble and pause as I recollect these stories, as I did not write a script or anything, this is my first time doing this, we have at last come to the good story. It happened to me and that long lost former friend of mine. We went to Black Star intentionally at night. I'm just gonna give full disclosure here. We were high as fuck on acid. Now, that automatically makes people want to discredit what it is that I'm about to say, which is why I normally leave that out. However, considering that you have dealt with me fucking not knowing how to tell creepypastas for the last 14 fucking goddamn minutes, I feel that you should know the truth. Like, the truth. There's a lot going on that evening. I found my parents' old record collection. My parents' old cassette collection, and my buddy's car just so happened to have a cassette player because it was that fucking old. So we were blasting like 80s suicidal tendencies and all that jazz. Now, my friend only had one tab of acid because it was his first time ever doing acid, and he was the one driving. I, on the other hand. Well, I'll leave that for another day. So, same shit as always. We drive through, past Silverado Canyon to Black Star. It's about 18 miles, I believe, of like windy ass mountain road, and then like a couple of miles of dirt road. And we roll up to this like back entrance, which has the dirt parking lot, some trees, a little mini gate and stuff, and it's about, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Jet black, new moon night with nothing in the sky, beautiful stars. And there should be no one there this late in the evening. I reiterate that this is not a safe place, regardless of all the urban legend. There are rattlesnakes, which, I mean, snakes are just snakes. They don't fuck with you if you don't fuck with them. But then there's like mountain lions, cliffs, fucking critters that do not like to be disturbed. So as we're rolling up, there's this white station wagon parked facing away from the entrance right at the turnout into the parking lot. And we don't see anyone in it. So we look as we drive past to go park and subsequently park. The car turns its lights on. I look over at my buddy and I say, because I can tell that he's a little tense, as am I. Maybe it was the drugs. Maybe it was the fact that this person would turn out to be a fucking goddamn psychopath. We were not comfortable with the timing of that fact, and the person turned on their lights, turned on their car, and just idled the engine for a couple of minutes. And I look at my buddy and I say, I've seen a lot of horror movies, and this is how they start. He agrees, and we decide to smoke a cigarette and see what happens. For 10 fucking goddamn minutes, that person just sat there with their lights on, idling. So, we decide to say, fuck that, turn around, and go to leave. This person instantaneously starts following us on this mountain road. We start going much faster than you should. On a mountain road, you want to be going between 25 and 40, depending on the turns and stuff like that. We initially were going this safe speed, and the person was fucking tailgating us with their brights on. Probably that fucking psycho-ass farmer. And on this windy-ass mountain road, after we get off, we get through the dirt onto the regular pavement and start going about fucking 80. Very dangerous for, it wasn't the steepest of hairpins or anything like that, or sharpest, excuse me, but this person's tailgating us this entire fucking time. And we get off into the actual city streets around there, and the person's still tailgating us after fucking 18 goddamn miles of windy ass road. We intentionally blow red lights. Person follows us through the red lights tailgating. We drive on the wrong side of the road. The person continues to tailgate us on the wrong side of the road. We are doing anything we possibly can to get pulled over, even though we're high on drugs. This is how fucking relentlessly this person was following us, which is why, maybe it does add some credence to the tale that we were fucking tripping. Because we were trying to encounter police. That's how fucking relentless this individual was. We eventually get on the freeway, and the person's right on our fucking ass. And I remember looking back because this person did not stop, and the eyes of this individual were just pure blackness of hate, loathing. You could feel the anger emanating from this person's essence. And for those of you that are familiar with Southern California, the only reason we lost this person is because we went from fucking Black Star Canyon to Angels fucking Stadium. They were doing construction at the time, and we were able to, like, through the traffic in this construction zone, fucking last second, cut across multiple lanes to get into a turnout to turn off the freeway. And as this person passed us, they had a look of pure wrath. Now, maybe this person was just that, and probably, realistically, probably just that fucking farmer trying to scare people off, because he does that to people. There's stories of, like, people like just being in the area, and that fucking random ass farmer comes out with a fucking goddamn shotgun trying to get people off his land. But anyway, we finally get off the freeway, and because, the city of Fullerton has the best police ever going out murdering homeless people all fucking day, we go to the fucking police station, sit in the parking lot, and literally smoke weed in the police station, hoping that maybe someone will see us. And of course they don't. So, take all that as you will. I recommend you do visit there during the day. But do not, under any circumstance, go to the back entrance of Black Star Canyon at night. Anyway, folks, if you've made that to the end of this very long-winded short story, due to all the pausing and me basically just saying this off the cuff while I'm drinking on an empty stomach, let me know what you think. I'd like to make more of these. If you have any other suggestions of stories or whatever, say something, and maybe I'll set up an email or something and do some more. I got some more personal, real-life scary stories that I'd like to share. For the time being, though, have a drink for me. Have a drink for all the listeners that couldn't make it through my pause and boring early stories. And hopefully, maybe one day, I'll actually be good at this.